Okay, we are learning 12.4 for algebra today. This is a set of data. It's box and whisker plots, and the box and whisker plots are going to be just a way of arranging your data. So here's your getting ready. Suppose you're moving to a new town and are looking for a warm climate. You choose between Morel, I'm assuming that's pronounced that way, I really don't know where that's at, and Glenville. They might even be made up. Based on the average monthly temperatures below, which town would you choose and how would you decide? So in January, they're pretty similar. February, still pretty similar. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. So actually, they're pretty close. Across the board. But here's what we need to know. So separating data into subsets is a useful way to summarize and to be able to actually compare the data. So there's something called quartiles, and the prefix quart, I hope, stands out in your mind as a way to divide things into fourths, because there are 4 quarters in a dollar, there are 4 quarts in a gallon. So the prefix quart means fours. So we're going to separate these into 4 quarters, 4 quartiles. And, that's where it says it right there, 4 equal parts. The median, which I know you guys have learned median before, but probably in 6th grade or maybe 5th, I'm not sure. That is the same thing as the second quartile. And that makes sense because the second quarter would be halfway through, and the median is exactly half. It separates it into halves. And that would be an upper and a lower half. The first quartile is the median of the lower half. So the first quartile would be the first quarter. And then the third quartile would be between the median and the upper half of the data. So that'd be like the third quarter. And then the interquartile range is just this range between the first quarter and the third quarter. So it kind of leaves off the very bottom and the very top. But it's the part from the first quarter to the third quarter. So that's kind of the middle data. Okay, so here's an example, actually. It says for data that has an odd number of values, so this is an odd number, like if you count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you don't include the median in either of the halves when you're finding them. So if you're not including this, you would just look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, and you would know the middle number of those 5 is your first quarter. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the middle number of those is your third quartile. So you have a minimum also, and you have a maximum, and those hopefully are pretty easy for you. The minimum is your smallest number, the maximum is your largest number. And then, like I said, you just have your median, which is 11. I shouldn't have crossed it off. It is 11, but you don't use it if it's an odd number. And now what happens if you have an even number and the median is like, let's say it was 10 and 12. You would add these and divide by 2 to get your 11. So, and we actually have some examples of those, so we'll do those together. Okay, so what is the minimum, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and the maximum of this set of data? So the most important thing that you would do first is put them in order from smallest to largest. So, and I like to cross them off as I go because otherwise I totally forget what some of the numbers are that I have or haven't used yet. So let's put these in order. So 75, and then I see an 80. I think it jumps to 125 next. And then you've got 126, and then it goes 135, and then there are 2 140s. You go ahead and write them out twice, and then you have this 350. Okay, so let's take a look at these numbers. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and even numbers. So this is what we talked about above. So right in the center would be your median. So the median is somewhere between 126 and 135. So on your calculator, you'll do 126 plus 135, and you'll find exactly the number in half by dividing by 2. So 130.5. So 130.5 is our actual median. Okay, and then we won't use that to find the middle of the other numbers, of the other halves, to find our quartiles. So again, we've got an even number. So if you look at these are our most outermost, and then it works its way in. The first quartile is going to be between these two. So quartile 1 will be halfway between 80 and 125. So 80 plus 125 is 205 divided by 2, which is 102.5. So the lower quartile, the first quartile, is 102.5. And then the third quartile, we're going to run into the same issue. So with an even number, we're going to go directly between, oh, but it's easier. Directly between 140 and 140 is 140. You don't have to do any math if it's the same number. It's just itself. Okay, and then the only other thing it asks for is the minimum and the maximum. Obviously, your smallest number is your minimum, and your largest number is your maximum. So that is how you would divide it all up. And I just now am seeing that all the answers are down here. Cool. Let's see if we did it right. Step 1, arrange them from least to greatest. Yep. We got 130.5 for the median. Good. First quartile, 102.5. Good. I'm glad we did this right. And then the third quartile is just 140 and 140, so it's just 140. And then we've got the minimum and maximum. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the next page. So, oh, it's a you try. All right, so this is a good time. I know we've only done one together, but go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do A, and go ahead and see if you can do B as well. You're just identifying the minimum and the maximum, the first quartile and the third quartile, and the median. All right, if you weren't quite ready to do it on your own, or if you're checking, here's how you should have arranged these. For A, there's a lot of numbers here. I hope I did this right. I have 60, 65, 75, 75, 75, 85, 85. These are like test scores. Another 85, 95, 100. Oh, somebody got extra credit. 105. Okay, so obviously this is my minimum and this is my maximum. For the median, let's see if we can find a center number. Looks like it is exactly 85. Oops, I lost which one it was. So this 85 is the median. Okay, and we're not going to count it because it was an odd number to get the median of the others, to get the upper quartile. This one would be my first quartile, and then 95 would be my third quartile. All right, check and make sure you have those answers correct. All right, off to the side, it's a little bit smaller. It doesn't take up as much room. Letter B, there were only a few numbers, so it would be 5, 7, 11, 19, 21, and 53. Ooh, that's like an outlier. We don't really talk today about outliers, but it's a number that's way, way separated from the data. Okay, so this is definitely the minimum, 5. Oops, minimum. 53 is definitely the maximum. And then if you find your median, it's going to be halfway between 11 and 19. So I'm going to do 11 plus 19 and divide it by 2, which is 15. That's the median. And then the quartile 1 should be 7, and the third quartile should be 21. All right, let's look at the actual box and whisker plot now. So this is exactly what it sounds like. You have a box, and then you have whiskers coming off of it. So you should see what it looks like in this picture, in this diagram that I'm trying to show you. So there actually is a box, and there are actually whiskers coming off of it. So the box is the range from the first quartile up to the third quartile. It just makes a box. And then the box always has a line somewhere, I almost said in the middle, but it's not necessarily in the middle. It's wherever the median falls. And then you have your whisker extending to the minimum and the other whisker extending to the maximum number. And your box is made based on taking the numbers that we've used up here and actually putting them on a number line nice and neatly spaced. So this is going to be why your median doesn't always fall in the center of the box, because it just depends on where it was at on the number line. And something that I've seen pop up on the EOC test before that I think is really important is each of these sections represents 25% of the data. So if you evenly distribute them, 25% of the data should be in the whisker, 25% of the data should be from the whisker to the median, 25% should be from the median to the third quartile, and 25% should be on the other whisker as well. So this interquartile range should only represent 50% of the data. All right, let's see how we make one. So they use these numbers, and then they put it on a number line, and they found that the median was 314, so that's why this little line is kind of to the left of 315, because it's representing the median, which is 314. And then, let's see, the quartile 1, so that's the start of your box, is 311, which would be right there. The other quartile 3 is 316, which is the other side of your box. And then the whiskers extend to the minimum, which was 303, so way down here, and to the maximum, which was 321, which is way over here. All right, so it's taking the numbers that you guys already will arrange and then plotting them on a number line and putting a box and whisker below where they match up with the number line. So I think we can do this, but we're only going to do it once because it's not that difficult to understand. It's just going to take us practicing it, I think, one time. All right, so here is your U-try. If you want to go ahead and try this on your own, that would be awesome. If not, I'm going to work it out with you right now. So first we want to arrange them from smallest to largest. So that would be 4, 8, 9, oops, there we go, 10, 14, 15, 16, another 16, 25, and 34. Okay, now that they're in order, we can actually go ahead and identify the minimum, the maximum. Let's find the median. So if we chop off the ends, let's see where we come to the middle. It's going to be halfway between 14 and 15, which is 14.5. Oop, that's hard to see. 14. Oh, it's really hard to see with my light there. 14.5 is my median. Then I've got 9 as my Q1, and it would be 16 as my third quartile. Okay, so I'm going to make a number line just off to the right. I know we don't have a lot of space, but I'm going to make a number line that just goes from, I'll start it down here at 0, and I'll go to 35, because that will be a little bit to the left and right of either of our minimum and maximum. So I'm going to just make a number line. Yes, mine is not straight. That's okay. And I'm going to go from 0 to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So I'm going to go, this is 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, and right below that, I'm going to do our box and whisker. So the whisker is going to extend from our minimum, which is 4. So I'm going to put the first part of my whisker down here, just at about right below 4. And it is going to extend to the box. And the box is going to go from 9 to 16. Okay, so the box is going to go from 9 to 16. So here's 9. Here's about 16. And I'm going to go ahead and make my box from 9 to 16. That is my 50% of my data is in the box, is in the interquartile range. So from the lower quartile to the upper quartile, from the first to the third. And now I need to throw in the median somewhere in here. The median was 14.5. So I want to go to just right next to the 15, 14.5. And a lot of times you will see lines drawn through these and all the way through these. And the only other one I need to extend to is my upper whisker. And it goes to, just kidding, it goes all the way to the maximum, which is 34. So the maximum is way down here. That is a long whisker, but that represents 25% of the data too. So 25% is within here, 25% is within here, 25% is within here. That means there are several, just as many numbers in this space as there are in this space. They're just very spaced out. And then 25% here. So this is our box and whisker plot that represents this data, which was monthly sales in millions of dollars of audio devices.